Hey guys, this is YuseiDWheeler here, and first of all, now that I have time for now, I decided to actually finally get around to posting my deck profile on my new Overlord deck for Vanguard. And again, I think this is for those of you who follow my Toshiki Kai page on Facebook. I just want to say thank you for the support, because it's been a while since I reached over 1,000. I'm nearly at 1,200 now, thanks to you. Thanks to all of you, and just, man, I did not expect to actually get as much as I did, though, but regardless, thank you all very much for the support, and here is the video I promised you that is long overdue. Alrighty, so, let's get right into it, alright? So, I'm reviewing the Overlord deck that I used at Springfest, which is the Dragonic Overlord, the Legend. Just kind of, yeah. So let's get, I already said that. Let's get right into it. So I used this deck, and it's now been modified with cards from Fighters Collection. I know school's been taking up a lot of my time. That's why I didn't really have a lot of time to do so like the previous week. So I'm going to start with, start off with the main unit of the deck, Dragonic Overlord, the Legend. It's a Generation Break 2, you counterblast 1, drop a grade 3 Flame Dragon from hand, he gets 15k plus power, 1+1 grade, and +1 drive, and when he attacks the rear guard, he will stand back up after you discard 3 cards, though, so... And when he's placed in the Vanguard circle, though, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and pick a Flame Dragon among them, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle the rest back in your deck. So this is a very good unit, though. This is like one of my new favorite units now, because you can do quite a bit with this guy, though. So he's pretty self-explanatory, since it's pretty much based off the Legend deck. And the grade 3 backup I have is 4 copies of Dragonic Overlord the Great. I mainly he's my backup choice, though, because right now I think he's like the best option for me for for Legion purposes, and since he's another Overlord unit. And he also does the restand too, and he basically he Legions with Dragonic Neo Flame, and after he attacks a rearguard, he does the same thing as the Generation Break 2 skill for the Legend, only instead of just gaining drive, he just counterblast 1, discard 2 cards from your hand after he attacks the rear guard, and then stand back up. But also his Vanguard effect is like basically, you choose one of your rear guards with the same name as the unit on the Vanguard circle, and retire it. After he hits any unit, you can pay the cost. If you do, retire another rear guard. So basically, if this unit hits, though, basically, like, say if you're in Legion, and you have an extra Neo Flame out, right? Like, after this unit hits anything, whether it's a Vanguard or Rearguard, you choose any Rearguard that's either Neo Flame or Overlord the Great, retire them, and then just pop a Rearguard on the opponent's field, so... This is a pretty good one. I think right now this is more consistent than the Cross right now, because... 1, I don't have to jumble up my grade 3 lineup, though, and 2, it's just, this guy does put in a lot of work, though. I mean, I don't mind having to ride this guy if I don't draw into the Legend, so either of my grade 3 options are a really good choice to ride, so it's like, it has a more consistent number, and I don't have to worry too much about my grade 3 counts, like I do with, the Cross. I mean, I do have the Cross variant of this deck, though, but I think that variant is a little bit slower than this build that I'm currently using right now, and this is just, well, this works out a lot better for me. Alright? So now moving on to grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Dragonic Neo Flame. I know I see in most people they only run 3, and they run 3 copies of Neo Flame and 4 copies of Nahalem, though. I'm running 4 because basically this guy doesn't have a generation break requirement, though, and this guy is really good for early game pressure, and because like after he like hits like a after you like hit a rear guard in the same column as him, though, you get to pretty much counterblast one and take out another unit that's in the same column as the unit that's been retired. So basically, this puts a lot of pressure early game against like a lot of like heavy rush people who like to like fill up the board pretty quickly. So yeah, and not to mention the fact that this guy is also a flame dragon, so that's another option for me to add once I ride into the legend. That, and also he's a legion mate for Overlord the Great, so yeah, he's a good choice. Let me just kind of slide this over so a lot of these cards are in view. Well, it's kind of hard to say, I guess, but this is like a small camera, so you're going to have to bear with me out. Sorry. Okay, so my next, I run 3 copies of Emperor Dragonite Nahalem. I love this unit to death. So basically, his Generation Break skill is during your turn, as long as you have a Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, he'll be an 11k unit, and once your grade 4 unit attacks, he'll gain 5,000, so every time you stride, or if you use, like, Overlord the Legend's Generation Break, every time you attack with it, he gains 5,000, and that power-up stacks. So, the reason why I picked this over Burning Horn, I use this as a way just to replace Burning Horn, because this guy's more consistent in an Overlord deck, though, because even though he's not a Flame Dragon, though, he brings in a lot of heavy numbers to attack with, and this guy really pulled its weight during all my matches in Springfest, and even some matches I have with my friends, too. But I run him at but as good as this card is, though, I only want to run 3 because, well, he's not a Flame Dragon. But still, even regardless of that, though, I mean, if you still want to run 4, it's still okay, though, but just for me, I just prefer to run 3 right now. I mean, he gets the job, he really gets the job done, though, so there's really no worries on that, so he's a really good card. Well, just kind of move the camera a bit, so that next grade 2 lineup would be 3 copies of Dragonic Burnout. So in my Overlord the Cross build, though, I run 4 copies, though, but in here I run 3 because, well, as good as this guy is, though, it's kind of hard to maintain the enough cards in your soul to continuously use a lot of these cards, because I do have other cards that Soul Blast as well as Overlord the Legend himself, so it's basically just, but this does help me from decking out, though, because, well, since I'll be dropping a lot of Overlord units into the drop zone, I'm just going to send them back to the bottom of the deck, and helps to retire a unit too, so. Oh, pretty self-explanatory, and I kind of knocked a lot of cards away from the stack. Let me just pick those up here. Alrighty, so, let me just move these out of the way right now. My last 2, I have 2 copies of Berserk Lord Dragon. He's a very good unit, though. It's just basically when your Vanguard with grade 4 attacks, counterblast 1 to retire a grade 2 or less unit, though. He's a Flame Dragon, that's why I use him, though, but I only run him at 2, because there will be times where I probably won't be able to stride. Well, maybe I wouldn't say won't be able to, but sometimes when I need to ride into the Great and Legion so I can send cards back. And if once I'm into Overlord the Great and once I start Legioning, though, then he won't be able to use his skill. So but two's a good amount number, though. It does help me get it does really help a lot of the combos where I stand with Overlord the Legend's Generation Break, or when I use Overlord the Ace. So yeah, not much else to say about him, though, but he's a pretty good unit. But just, I wouldn't run more than 2, that's all. Alright, so of course I run my Flame Dragon Perfect Guards Protect Orb. It really helps with countercharging, not much else you need to say about that, so that's that. Next we have 4 copies of, Lava Flow Dragon. Another self-explanatory unit. It's a Flame Dragon, and it's a Stride Helper too, so this deck is really Stride heavy, though, so That's, yeah, not much else. It's a good 7k booster if I need to throw it down. And in case if I don't want to toss away any Overlord units into the drop just yet, I can just toss these guys and stride and everything's fine and dandy. So, that's that. Next, I want 3 copies of Lizard General Conroe. Lizard Soldier Conroe is the Forerunner that we cannot use as a starter anymore, but yeah. Okay, so basically, you can run 4 of these guys. I'm personally running 3 just because, well, he's not a Flame Dragon unit though, but I have to have at least 3 of these guys in there. I mean, like I said, you can get away with running 4 though, because he's a very essential unit to Overlord decks now. Because, whoops, I keep hitting the camera. Sorry about that. I'm being really janky right now. Sorry. So basically, this card is like once you place him onto the rear guard, just reveal a grade 3 from your hand, and search your deck for an Overlord unit grade 3 card, and reveal it to your opponent and add it to your hand, and then discard a card afterwards. So basically, it's kind of like Lava Flow for Blade Master though, but this is for Overlord. But thing is, once he's placed on the field, once he's on the field though, you retire it, choose your Vanguard with Overlord in its name, and once your Vanguard attacks though, you get the countercharge too, and this is really, really good. So this helps with the whole countercharging issue, because this deck does counterblast though, and this guy really alleviates the problem, that counterblasting problem though. So yeah, welcome back, Conroe. I love this guy so much. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Man, I think I ate a little too much though earlier. Sorry. Alrighty, so next up, my last 2 grade 1 copies are Spear of the Flame Dragon Tar. Now, this guy is a really interesting card, and it really helps me out a lot though too. This helps me also thin out the deck, or at least like shuffle the deck in case I get really bad drive checks. It's basically you counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose any unit on your field, and well, any unit on your field that gets 4,000, and when it attacks, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and get a grade 3 Flame Dragon unit too. So, let me just focus. There we go. And the good thing is though, if you use this on cards like Overlord or Overlord the Ace, like Overlord the Legend or Overlord the Ace, and you do a restand though, you get to use this skill twice, so you have two chances to like thin out the deck though, and he's a pretty good 7k booster too, so I don't know. He's a pretty nifty unit, I guess. I mean, it helps me a lot too though, because I have ran into a lot of situations where I used it though, and I really thinned out the deck a lot too, and it really helped during one of the times when I was using the Legends Generation Break. Because a lot of times when I used that and I was able to add the grade 3 Flame Dragons to my hand, it was another option for me to discard 3, that way I can keep some of the other cards I may wanted to keep in my hand, so yeah, this is pretty good. Alrighty. And now we're going to go into the starter, which is currently Lizard Hero Undo. It's just basically Forerunner, Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1, just move them into the soul and nab an Overlord unit from your deck. I like this better than Red Pulse though, because, well, this is a guaranteed search. And Red Pulse though, as much as I like Red Pulse though, there are a lot of times where I missed a lot of the grade 3 checks though, so this card, I mean, even if I have to wait to Generation Break though, this guarantees me a search, and it's a 5k booster, so yeah. I like keeping that though. Alright, so now we're getting to the trigger lineup. I'm going to run, I'm running currently 8 critical triggers. These are Flame Dragon triggers though, which you probably want to be running Flame Dragon triggers, because I mean, I was running like the foil triggers before because it looked nice though, but I think I only want to do that for a while though, and then eventually you're gonna want to just run Flame Dragon triggers. So I got the Perdition trigger because I like this image though. I really like the Perdition units and they're pretty cool. So 4 of him and 4 Blu-ray Draco Kid, classic trigger, and I just like the image too because it's got a little bazooka. And I run 4 draw triggers. I know a lot of people are running Gatling Claw though, but right now, the Gatling Claw. I know Gatling Claw is used to get rid of like a lot of the annoying starters though, but lately there's a lot of times where like opponent has like a starter that can probably move itself into the soul or just bounce away pretty fast. So, and then it just pretty much you need a target for Gatling Claw in order to actually move them to the soul, and a counterblast though. But these guys are like the Margle clones though, so the Seal Dragon draw triggers I use just pop them into the soul, give a unit 3k. I find these are easier to sift into the soul, and that way it can help me alleviate the cards I need for like Dragonic Burnout or Tar or Overlord the Legend and stuff too. So yeah, I mean it works better for me at least. And lastly, these are actually not Flame Dragon triggers though, but I want to keep at least this heal trigger because I like it better than Mother Orb or the whatchamacallit, the Seal Dragon heal trigger. I mean, you probably want to run the Flame Dragon triggers though, but I don't know. I don't really like Mother Orb's picture though, honestly. And to be fair though, I never had any problems fishing out any of my Flame Dragons with Overlord the Legend though, so. And besides, because, majority of my cards are Flame Dragons anyway though, so that's why I don't really have any trouble with this though. So, yeah. So I got 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, which is pretty much my ideal lineup for, like, most of my decks though. So, now we get to the new expanded G zone for 16 units though, so let me just kind of move some of these cards out of the way. Okay. Alright. So, let me just kind of lift that up so you can see the map. Okay, run 4 copies of Nouvelle Vague Lexpress. He's a very good unit though. This guy really saved my bacon in a lot of matches though. Counterblast 1, turn over another copy, and this prevents your opponent from guarding with grade 1 units, and if your opponent is at 5 damage or more, then any trigger effects they check during those battles now would be nullified. Okay, but with the Generation Guarding now a thing now, it's very easy to guard against this though, but still, this does provide a pretty decent pressure though. This pressure's pretty good even with it though, because I've been testing that with some of my friends though, and let's just say they're not able to Generation Guard all the time though, because of course you need a heal trigger in your hand, and sometimes they don't have that. But still, regardless of whether you can G-Guard or not though, this card is still really good though. This will force some cards out of your opponent with though. But yeah, I really like this card, and I'm just, yeah, this is one I'm gonna be keeping at 4. So just put that there. Next, I run 4 copies of Dragonic Overlord the Ace. I know once the Legend deck came out though, before the expansion, I had him at 2 because, well, there wasn't really enough space because I needed him more than him. But now with the G-Zone expanded, I can keep him back at 4 again though. So basically, Counterblast 2, flip over another copy, and he loses 1 drive check, so he's down to a twin drive, but after that, after he attacks, discard 1 card and an Overlord unit to stand him back up, and he gains 5,000. So this is another good card that provides good pressure though too, and possibly it can actually end games too, so especially this also works well with Nahalem because every time he's a grade 4, and every time he attacks, he'll gain 5,000, and the power does stack on Nahalem, so that's really good. He's another one of my favorite units right now, too. I'm just glad I can use him at 4 again, because of the expansion. Okay. Whew. Sorry if I sound a little winded right now. It's kind of hot in my room right now. I had to turn off the fan, that way you don't hear the fan noise in my room. And I've just been doing a lot of stuff right now, so... Alright. I run 2 copies of Root Flare Dragon. Root Flare is pretty good, though. I mean, but it's only good if your opponent really sets up a full column, though, and a lot of people are kind of like shifting around their formations to make sure they don't get root flared a lot too. But and since this deck does have a lot of retire power, though, it just depends on what you want to do. So, but right now I feel like the Novel Vague and Overlord, the Ace, are just better choices for me right now. And I got a lot of other cards I can retire too. So, but yeah, this is still pretty handy to have though. So, but I'll just keep them at 2 for now. But that depends, and also with set G7 coming out, though, I might take him out for some other cards, though. Alright, next I run 1 copy of Vortex Desire. This guy's a really good opening stride. So, because once he attacks, you flip over another card from your G zone, and for every Flame Dragon on your... If it hits, though, every Flame Dragon on your Vanguard circle, which is pretty much 2 at this time, unless you're in Legion, that'll be 3. You can take out that many rearguards, though, so... Once he hits, though, you can just auto-retire, too, and that's that. Okay, sorry about that, though. I think my phone is getting... It's starting to get a little low on memory, though, because I think I have a lot of stuff on it, though, so I'm gonna have to make this quick now, which I'm almost done, though, so... I'll just get right to it. So, okay, aside from Vortex, though, I run 1 copy of Divine Dragonite Mustafa. Just basically counterblast 1, flip over another copy, no, not a copy, just flip over any card in your G-Zone. Retire 1 unit, though, and for every face-up Mustafas you have in the G-Zone, you can countercharge. But I mainly just do it just to pop 1 rearguard, though, in case if... Because, well, basically with these two, I either pick one or the other as the starter, though, as the starting stride, and then just flip these guys over, whichever one I use, though. But I mainly use Vortex because it doesn't cost a counterblast, though. But if my opponent only has 1 rearguard by the time I stride, then I'll probably just go into this guy, and, well... I have lots of ways to countercharge, though, so I don't really need to run another copy, but this guy is another good option in case I don't want to, like, waste anything, though, so... Yeah. And finally, as for the G Guardians now, I'm running 2 copies of a Silo Orb Dragon. It is basically, if this card is really easy to get off, though, if your opponent has 4 or less rearguards, meaning they need to have at least 1 empty rearguard circle, this shield will go up by 5,000, so it'll be a 20k shield. It's alright, it's pretty easy. With this deck, though, it's pretty easy to pull off because this deck has a lot of retire power, too, so... But it'll be even more useful once like Defeat Flare and Denial Griffin come out too. That way you can use them in like combinations though. And currently I run 1 copy of Dark Element Dismal. Basically, it's basically it has a resist on the Guardian Circle, so your opponent can't Die Kaiser it though. But it's only 15k shield, but it's still pretty good considering what it does, though. It's just basically once this places on the Guardian Circle, you choose one of your other units, and your opponent cannot target that by any skills, or can't be attacked. Well, it cannot be hit until the end of the turn, though, so... This can be pretty helpful in situations. And lastly, I have 1 copy of Metal Element Screw. I don't know, it sounds like it's a screw. It looks like it says screw you, but it's pretty funny. Me and my friend joke around about that, though. But in another case, though, you just basically, once this hits the guard circle, though, you discard a card from your hand, and if you have at least 1 card face up in your G zone, it'll be a 25k shield. So it's pretty basic, though, but it does help against high numbers, though. But this may come out of the deck once G7 comes out, with Defeat Flare and Denial Griffin coming out, though. So yeah, okay, so that is the deck, though. I want to thank you all again for all the support you gave to my page, though, and for just keeping up with the info that I post on it, though. In any case, though, I really like this deck a lot. That's just, like, right now my favorite deck currently at the moment, though. And I'm just excited for set G7 to come out, though. And I'm going to try to collect my the extra Kagero stuff from G7 to improve this deck even more before AX starts. For those of you going to AX, I will be there too. So that'll be it for this video. I'm farting all over the place. Sorry, brain farting. That is. But once again, thank you all for the support, though. I really appreciate it. And so that'll be it for this video, though. I'll probably post another video once I improve this deck even more. So that'll be that, and I will see you guys next time, alright? Take care, and I'm just in time, too.